Hello and welcome again to Gaming Gatehouse and into this playthrough of Mass Effect 2. So as said in the previous video, we are now delving into the Codex entries as we dealt with the Prime Codex, and now we're going to read from the Secondary Codex. As I said before, I'm only going to read the entries that were added here at Mass Effect 2 and not from Mass Effect 1, because that would be like redundant, having to read everything again. I'm going to add in the description the links to the Codex entries from Mass Effect 1 if anyone is interested. So let's now proceed with the Codex Secondary entries from Mass Effect 2 right now. I have helping text right on my side, just in case I get confused.
The Asari were the first species.
No. Sorry. No. Secondary, not primary. Aliens, council races, Asari, biology. That's right, biology. Asari have a robust cellular regenerative system. While they do not heal faster than other species, Asari are known to reach 1,000 years of age. Although Asari have one gender, they are not asexual. An Asari provides 2 copies of her own genes to her offspring. The second set is altered in a unique process called melding. During melding, an Asari consciously attunes her nervous system to her partner's, sending and receiving electrical impulses directly through the skin. The partner can be another Asari or an alien of either gender. Effectively, the Asari and her partner briefly become one unified nervous system. This unique means of reproduction is the reason Asari are talented biotics. Their evolved ability to consciously control nerve impulses is very similar to biotic training. Asari believe that their offspring acquired the best qualities of the father from the melded genes, but evidence is anecdotal. Asari pass through 3 climacteric life stages, marked by biochemical and physiological changes. The maiden stage begins at birth and is marked by the drive to explore and experience. Most young Asari are curious and restless. The matron stage of life begins around the age of 350, though it can be triggered earlier if the individual melds frequently. This period is marked by a desire to settle in one area and raise children. The matriarch stage begins around 700 or earlier if the individual melds rarely. Matriarchs become active in their community as sages and counselors, dispensing wisdom from centuries of experience. While each stage of life is marked by strong biological tendencies, individuals make unexpected life choices. For example, there are maidens who stay close to home rather than explore, matrons who would rather work than build a family, and matriarchs who have no interest in community affairs. Next, the Asari government, quickly. The Asari came late to the concept of world government. For centuries, their home world of Thestia was dotted with loose confederacies of great republican cities. The closest earthly equivalent would be the ancient Mediterranean city-states. Since the Asari culture values consensus and accommodation, there was little impetus to form larger principalities. Rather than hoard resources, the Asari bartered freely. Rather than attack one another over differing philosophies, they sought to understand one another. Only in the information age did the city-states grow close. Communication over internet evolved into an electronic democracy. Asari have no politicians or elections. the freewheeling, all-inclusive legislature that citizens can participate in at will. Policy debates take place at all hours of the day in official chat rooms and forums moderated by specially programmed virtual intelligences. All aspects of policy are open to plebiscites at any time. In any given debate, the Asari tend to lend the most credence to the opinions of any matriarchs present, nearly always deferring to the experience of these millennia-old wise women. Achieving consensus through public debate may take too long in a crisis. In cases where prompt, decisive action is required, the Asari defer to the wisdom of local matriarchs. Okay, direct action, if you will. Asari religion. Excuse me. The pantheistic mainstream Asari religion is Siari, which translates roughly as all is one. The faithful agree on certain core truths. The universe is a consciousness. Every life within it is an aspect of the greater whole, and death is a merging of one spiritual energy back into the greater universal consciousness. Siarists don't specifically believe in reincarnation. They believe that spiritual energy returned to the universal consciousness upon death will eventually be used to fill new mortal vessels. Siari became popular after the Asari left their homeworld and discovered their ability to meld with nearly any form of life. This ability is seen as proof that all life is fundamentally similar. Siari priestesses see their role as promoting unity between the disparate charge of the universe's awareness. Before the rise of Siari pantheism, Asari religions were as diverse as their political opinions. The strongest survivor of those days is a monotheistic religion worshipping the goddess Asami. Like the Asari, the goddess cycles through the triple aspects of maiden, matron, and matriarch. Triple goddess, like Hecate. Next. Solarian culture. The rare Solarian females are cloistered on their worlds out of tradition and respect. Powerful female Delatraces are the dynasts and political kingpins. They determine the political course of their respective regions through shrewd negotiation. Though male Solarians rise to positions of great authority in business, academia, or the military, they rarely have any input on politics. Due to their method of reproduction, Solarians have no concept of romantic love, sexual attraction, or the biological impulse of social rituals that complicate human lives. Male-female relationships are rare due to the scarcity of females and more akin to human friendship. Sexuality is strictly for the purpose of reproduction. Ancient social codes determine who gets to fertilize eggs, which produces more daughters to continue a bloodline. Fertilization generally only occurs after months of negotiation between the parents' clans and is done for purpose of political and dynastic alliance. No Solarian would imagine defying this code. Solarian names are quite complex. A full name includes, in order, the name of a Solarian's planet, duchy, barony, fiefdom, family, and finally the given name. Very hierarchical. Next. That's all for the aliens, council races. Now, I don't think there's nothing about extinct races. Nope. Aliens, non-council races. The Krogan Blood Rage. Feared throughout the galaxy as nightmarishly violent warriors, the Krogan are both aided and hobbled by their legendary blood rage. In the grip of that madness, Krogan become seemingly invincible, but are merely totally unresponsive to pain. Blood-enraged Krogan fight regardless of injury level, to the extent that Krogan shorn of all 4 limbs continue gnashing past brain death until total somatic death. The supremely resilient hyper-violent blood rage is the synergy of 2 aspects of Krogan neurology. The first aspect is a positive feedback loop in which adrenaline, also activated by fear of rage, suppresses serotonin, the brain chemical that induces serenity. The second is the overdeveloped Krogan limbic system. In Krogan, as in humans, fear or rage shifts mental control from the frontal lobes responsible for reasoning to the limbic system responsible for aggression and survival. During that shift, Krogan and humans exhibit diminished capacity for logic and self-control. Prior to ecological devastation of Tuchanka, blood rage was extremely rare among the Krogan. Back then, while all Krogan were capable of heightened anger and violence in fight or flight scenarios, almost none experienced insensitivity to pain. The 1% who did were those suffering serotonin suppression. At that time, Krogan society regarded the condition as pathological and medicated or imprisoned sufferers to protect them and society. Following nuclear ecocide for millennia ago, evolution selected only those Krogan afflicted with blood rage for survival. Today, there is no living memory among the Krogan of a life without mindless, murderous fury. Berserkers. Let's continue. Aliens. Aliens, non-sapient creatures. The Husk Scions. Though the exact fate of species captured by the collectors is unclear, the humanoid appearance of the Scions gives ghastly clues. The Scions' frame and skull are similar to those of a human or a Sari, but the bone structure is overlaid with a metallic resin. Posthumous examination of their bodies reveals a skin tone resembling that of a Reaper husks, but their transformation process seems more extensive. Like husks, they are cybernetically modified on a narrow scale, so they can operate even in hard vacuum. Hoses, rather than veins, and muscle tissue join major portions of the body together. One arm is replaced with a construct that fits a large rifle, turning the creature into a humanoid weapons platform, and the fleshy sack is supported by the creature's back and head. These sacks contain brain matter and spinal tissue, too much to have come from just one victim. This indicates Scions are an amalgam of several individuals, with one primary victim providing the frame and several secondaries providing the flesh for a decentralized semi-mechanical nervous system. This decentralization makes them highly resistant to gunshot wounds. Even a headshot is not a certain kill. The Scions weapons, however, indicate that Scions retained some living tissue, or at least sustained some of the same electrochemical reactions as those of a human biotic. The weapon creates a powerful warp effect, which is consistent with the isonodules visible in the Scions' expansive nervous system. Given the rarity of human biotics, it seems likely that the thus-formed isonodules are deposited during their transformation, rather than requiring a biotic victim in the first place. Scary creatures, the Scions. Stuff with 9. Next, arrival. Planet Erethoth. Nothing is impossible, says the hegemony propaganda poster that depicts a muscular Batarian miner under an Eratos's sky. His rebreather held away from his face as if he is just taking it off. The image sums up millions of man-hours of labor on the Batarian planet and represents, or misrepresents, much of its history. 2 decades ago, Eratot, like several planets in the Skyllian Verge, was claimed by both human and Batarian governments, but the Alliance backed out after learning about the atmosphere's dangerously low pressure and oxygen levels. Instead, they concentrated their colonial efforts on planets that could support human life without the aid of dome habitats and rebreathers. Human governments saw it as a wise move. Batarians saw it as cowardly. The Batarians rose to the colonization challenge, shipping in large numbers of laborers. They took the high financial costs and casualties due to accidents or the logistical snafus in stride. Large-scale dumping of cyanobacteria has increased the oxygen in the atmosphere by a fraction of 1%, a modest increase that the hegemony trumpets as a sign of their eventual victory. Short-term profits on Eratot are largely made in the mineral sector through mining the extremely metal-rich planetary crust. The dark side to the mining does not appear on the propaganda poster. The majority of laborers are indentured servants or slaves. Eratot is rumored to have military bases on its surface and throughout its solar system, though details are heavily restricted by the hegemony's Ministry of Information Control. Human merchant ships rarely come to the planet, outcompeted by local companies that benefit from heavy economic protections. The average Eratot citizen only sees humans on the news, usually featuring stories of trials and executions of accused spies. Yeah, the Batarians are not good people. Cerberus Project Overlord. Planet Eta. I don't know if Eta is the correct way to say the planet's name, but anyway, let's go. 2 beautiful moons, 1 spectacular ring, 0 neighbors. Says a popular advertisement for this terminus system's world. Eta is known for its sparsely settled population despite being a garden planet with a colony nearly a century old. Blessed with a mild climate, wildlife no more dangerous than that on Earth, and soil and bacteria amenable to imported plants. Eta would appear to be an unexploited paradise. However, it is unpopular for 2 reasons. The first and most obvious is that its moon, Litai, is in an unstable orbit that will lead to a planetary impact and an extinction level event within the next 2 centuries. As such, all investment in the planet is short term, and the biggest business is selling off the local biota to the highest bidder. I mean, that crash will be spectacular to see. The second drawback is the level of violence on the planet. Like the rest of the Venus massing cluster, Eta was briefly considered part of Citadel space during its first wave of colonization. However, when the colony broke off to become an independent planet in 2133, the Council let the doomed planet go with less than a day of debate. Free from any real governing body, Eta's history has since become filled with wars between small frontier town city-states over its resources. The result is a dangerous world where the average citizen is expected to be self-reliant to the point of fending for themselves against cutthroat corporations, strong-armed militia groups, and even gas incursions. The fighting is so frequent that the name of the planet itself has changed more than 11 times. In a sign of blunt indifference, standard Citadel galaxy maps refer to the world by the name given to it by human colonists in the latter half of the century. It's basically the Wild West. Let's continue. Citadel and Galactic Government. Citadel Conventions. These diplomatic talks occur in the wake of the Krogan rebellions, as a response to the destruction of the conflict and an attempt to distance the Council from the brutal Krogan warfare. The conventions regulate the use of weapons of mass destruction. A WMD causes environmental alteration to a world. A bomb that produces a large crater is not considered a WMD. A bomb that causes a nuclear winter is. Use of WMD is forbidden on garden worlds like Earth, with ecospheres that can readily support a population. If a habitable world is destroyed, it will not be replaced for millions of years. The conventions do not forbid the use of WMD on hostile worlds or in sealed space station environments. Many militaries continue to develop and maintain stockpiles. The conventions graded weapons of mass destruction into tiers of concern. Tier 1 is the greatest threat to galaxy peace. Tier 1. Large kinetic impactors, such as asteroid drops or deorbiting space stations, effectively free and available in any system, in the form of debris left over from planetary accretion. Kinetic impactors are the weapon of choice for terrorists and third galaxy nations. As we saw in the previous Mass Effect, where the Baterans terrorists used a large asteroid to strike a human colony, which I forgot. Tier 2. Uncontrolled self-replicating weapons such as nanotechnology, viral or bacteriological organisms, non-human devices, and destructive computer viruses. These weapons can lie dormant for millennia, waiting for a careless visitor to carry them on to another world. Tier 3. Large enemy burst weapons, such as nuclear or antimatter warheads. Tier 4. Alien species deliberately introduced to crowd out native forms necessary for the health of an ecosystem. Ecological tampering can take years to bear fruit, making it difficult to prove. Invasive species. Next we have foundations. Foundations of the Citadel. The undersides of the worlds. Between the inhabitant superstructures and an impenetrable outer hull are called the foundations. These dangerous areas are filled with life support systems and power plants. Officially, only the keepers are allowed in the foundations. In reality, the foundations are the slums of the Citadel, home to criminals, minorities, transients, and occasional stateless exiles. Some stay in the foundations of their own will. Others end there when the opportunities they sought in the Citadel do not come. The station's recycling systems are located in the foundations. These manufacture a variety of artificial organic pastes that can be eaten for sustenance. They are free and nutritious, but nearly tasteless and of an unpleasant texture. Poor Citadel's residents quickly become adept at dressing up this bland fare with sauces and spices, while imported foodstuffs are popular luxury of the wealthy. Basically gruel then, I guess. Next, we have the Treaty of Codex. Due to the destructive potential of dreadnoughts, the Council races agreed at the Phyrexian Naval Conference to fix the ratio of dreadnought construction between themselves. At the top of the pyramid is the peacekeeping Turian fleet. Below the Turians are the other Council races, currently the Asari and Solarians. Council associates races are at the bottom. The Human Systems Alliance is part of this last group. The ratio of Turian to Council to associate dreadnoughts is 5-3-1. For every dreadnought humans are permitted to build, the Asari have 3 and the Turians have 5. Okay? Next we have Humanities and Systems Alliance, Genetic Engineering. In the 22nd century, manipulation of the human genome became commonplace. Techniques of genetic engineering advancing to the point where the rich could custom build fetuses that grew into stronger, smarter, and more attractive adults. In more primitive regions, custom designed life forms and uplifted animals occupied an ill-defined niche between property and sapient being. Travel to the planets with unique forms of life brought an awareness that the Earth's unique biodiversity could be lost if spliced and hybridized to gain useful alien qualities. The Sudan-Wolcott Genetic Heritage Act was passed by the Systems Alliance Parliament in 2161. It imposed sharp restrictions on controversial uses of genetic engineering. It provided government subsidies for beneficial applications. Screening and therapy. Most governments provide free assessments and corrective therapy for genetic diseases in prospective parents. This has nearly eliminated everything from cystic fibrosis to nearsightedness. The earlier screening and therapy is performed, the more comprehensive the results. Though ideally performed on artificial fertilized zygotes in a lab, procedures are available for embryos in the womb and newborns, out of respect for personal beliefs. Enhancement. Improvement of natural abilities is legal, but adding new ability is not. Treatments to improve strength, reflexes, mental acuity, or appearance are permitted. Adding a tail or the ability to digest cellulose is not. So, no cat girls. And also no space marines. Whatever. Some genetic enhancement is provided for free to Alliance military recruits, but the average citizen must pay for the privilege. The process can take years to reach fruition in an adult. Engineering. Artificial hybridization of genes from compatible non-human species with human genetic code is illegal. Creation of designed life is broadly illegal and mainly used for terraforming and medical applications. The sentient creatures are heavily regulated, and creation of sapient life is outlawed by both the Systems Alliance and the Civil Council. I mean, those could be like good ideas for a story. Let's continue. After we have planets and locations. Let's talk about Ilos. For those who remember Mass Effect 1, Ilos was the last planet that we visited. Like the ancient human city of Troy, Ilos is a world known only through second-hand sources. References to Ilos have been found at several other protein ruins, though direct study of the world is unlikely to occur. Ilos lies in a remote area of the Terminus systems only accessible by the legendary Muir Relay. 4,000 years ago, the Muir Relay was knocked out of position by a supernova and lost. Since then, Ilos and its cluster have been inaccessible. Occasionally, a university will organize an expedition to chart a route to Ilos, using conventional FTL drive. These never get beyond the planning stages due to the distance and danger. The journey could take years or decades, passing through the hostile terminus systems and dozens of unexplored systems. Purgatory. Originally an ark ship designed to carry agricultural animals, the Purgatory was taken by the Blue Suns mercenary company during a large-scale battle in the Spillen Verge. In a years-long reconstruction of its interior, the Blue Suns repurposed it to hold sapient prisoners, supposedly because they captured so many in their conflicts throughout the galaxy. When media outlets started investigating claims that the ship was used for slaving operations, the Blue Suns turned a public relations nightmare into a regular income source. Claiming to be in full accordance with Citadel law, the crew of Purgatory now regularly lands on planets or space stations, claiming that they can no longer hold their prisoners because of cost overruns. To avoid keeping prisoners under inhumane conditions, they will have to release them at the nearest port, dumping the scum of the galaxy directly into the local population. Faced with such a scenario, the government usually grants Purgatory's crew massive discounts in fuel, food, and repairs as long as they go away. Some even offload their own prisoners to Purgatory for a fee, grateful to have a problem relocated somewhere other than their backyard. Such unfortunates go on in the dark depths of the ship, never to be seen again by their families or contacts. Purgatory is minimally armed with guardian defenses. Though a cruiserweight ship, it relies on the Blue Suns fighters to prevent any attacks bent on a jailbreak or similar events. Vermeer. Wait, we have read about Vermeer. Vermeer brings difficult memories. Okay, I'm going to read publications for now and give an end to this video because my voice is getting tired as well as my throat. Ascension. Written by human author Drew Capuchin. The popular military history novel Ascension focuses on several lives warped or destroyed by the human survivalist cult Cerberus, following the Citadel attack of 2182 and the accelerated rise of human influence in the galaxy. Cerberus instituted Ascension, a secret biotics program aimed at producing a superhuman warrior. Biotics prodigy Gillian Grayson, a 12-year-old autistic girl, suffered from the sins of her father, a secret Cerberus operative and red sand addict. Paul Grayson was ensnared in a web of criminality involving a Quarian traitor and extending to Sauron Arterius, the Geth, and a terminal threat to the Quarian flotilla. Having fled to the terminal systems with his daughter at exposure of Cerberus link to Ascension, Grayson was pursued by Gillian's teacher, scientist Kaylee Sanders, initiating a chain of tragedies that demonstrated Cerberus' nearly unlimited power and boundless ambition. Fornax. Launched in 2167, Fornax magazine described itself as the galaxy's finest xenophilia. By its 5th year, Fornax became the first human magazine to offer full 5 sensory stimulation, a previously unaffordable magazine technology made profitable by the economy of scale. With a monthly publishing run of 127 million available in both in hard copy and direct download, Fornax offers a range of alien models with particular emphasis on the unisexual Asari, although both genders of Quarians, Drell, Laterians, and Volos are regularly depicted. Specialty editions such as Genit L-Core and Progasm service devoted but smaller markets. Progasm, I love that. Revelation. Revelation is a popular military historical novel by human writer Drew Capuchin that dramatizes human conflicts and political expansion following the 2148 discovery of the protein mass relay on Pluto and the beginning of human galactic exploration. In 2165, years before his rise to political prominence, Lieutenant David Anderson was a young veteran of the Turian War, investigating the destruction of top-secret military research station Shanxi. Every scientist stationed at Shanxi had been slaughtered except Kaylee Sanders, who disappeared with secret files, making her Anderson's prime suspect. The book traced Anderson's dangerous investigation of Sanders, which included run-ins with Blue Sun's mercenaries and the Krogan bounty hunter. The investigation uncovered illegal research into AI and forced Anderson into an alliance with human-hating Turian Spectre Saren Arterius, who would eventually enter into a genocidal collaboration with the Geth. Okay. So it's with these publications that I will end this video of Gaming Gatehouse, and this was eventually, as the game progresses, we will find new entries for both Prime and Secondary Codex, so a new video will be made by then. Until now, I want to thank you for joining me here at Gaming Gatehouse into this playthrough of Mass Effect 2, and I'll see you next time.